particular reason. Paul is saying to us that in our Christian life, we are to run with a purpose. We are to run with a goal in mind. Guys, we are to stay focused. We are to stay focused. Hebrews 12, let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. If you guys have ever watched a cross-country meet, or if you've ever been part of that sport, coached it or ran, a lot of times that you'll run on a trail. And there was a course in Sheraton, Iowa, that was notorious for having holes on the course. I hated going there, but it was so close to our school that we decided to continue to go. But there were so many holes on the course that they would have to paint them so that the runners would not trip over them. Guys, in our walk and in our race and in our life, Satan will put those holes, Satan will put those roots, Satan will put those things in front of you that cause you to stumble. Satan watches your life. He knows what you struggle with. He knows those things that will cause you to fall. He knows those things that will cause you to stumble. But guys, we have to stay focused on the course. We have to stay focused on the race. We have to know where our steps go. We have to know where our feet land. What is it? Is it family issues that will cause you to stumble? Is it issues at your job, issues at your employment? Maybe it's issues of relationship. Maybe there's an addiction that's causing you to stumble over and over and over again. Guys, we're not keeping our focus. We're not keeping our eyes on the author and perfecter of our faith. We're not keeping our eyes on the prize that God has set before us. Guys, what is the number one rule? As a track coach, you tell your athletes, don't look back. Don't look behind you. When you start looking behind you, you start veering to the right, you start veering to the left. God has forgiven you of some things that you need to stop looking back behind you, that you need to forgive yourself of. Maybe there's some things of your past you need to let go of. They're causing you not to focus on the forward, they're causing you to focus on the back, and so you're veering to the left and veering to the right, and you're not running the race that God has called you to run. Forget what is behind. Press on to what is before you. Guys, we've got to keep our focus on Jesus, the object of our affection, the object of our faith, and the object of our worship. But guys, in order to stay focused on Jesus, we first must remove those things that weigh us down. Hebrews 12, it says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders, the sin that so easily entangles. Let us run with perseverance a race marked out for us. I got a few props for us this morning. As a runner, you don't want to wear boots. You don't want to wear a coat. You don't want to wear blue jeans, even though I have seen that before. I don't know. Anyway. As a runner, you want to wear things that are as light as possible. I could not find any of my stuff. I went up in the attic and looked for my track uniforms. I looked for my track shoes. I had to borrow some of the stuff. And so you try to find shoes that are as light as possible. They have shoes, I'm not joking here, that weigh 3 grams. This does not weigh 3 grams. They make shoes that weigh 3 grams. That's like next to nothing. Then they have a uniform, and Coach Youngworth let me borrow, or actually he gave this to me. You wear a uniform that is light as possible. That is light as possible. Where it feels like you're wearing, well, you do feel like you're wearing nothing. It's kind of embarrassing. Should have got a Web City one, shouldn't I? Should ask you. But you wear something as light as possible. And you wear shorts that are pretty short. I always often had athletes that would complain about the shorts that I would give them. They were nothing compared to what I used to wear. Especially you guys in the 80s. Man alive, I looked at pictures. Wow. I don't know why you willingly wore those anyway. I'm sorry. But you try to wear as least amount of clothing as possible so that it wouldn't weigh you down, that wouldn't cause you to become tired. Guys, sometimes there's things in our life that are weighing us down, that cause us to lose our focus. It could be a sin. It could be an addiction. It could be an immoral relationship. It could be a stronghold upon your life. Guys, we need to let go of those things that so easily entangle us.
I love to run. It's what I do. It's what I am. People are always asking me, Blaine, tell me why you run all the time. My response is always the same. I run because I'm a runner. I haven't always been a runner. A couple years ago, I decided I'd give it a try, so I did what I saw other runners do. I joined the track team. I quickly learned that just being on the track team doesn't make you a runner. I mean, I get out there and run my heart out, but I always seem to veer. Running straight isn't as easy as it looks. I was about to give up when I finally realized what was different about me. I was the only one wearing a watch. That's why I couldn't run. The watch was weighing me down. Though it was big and weighed a ton, I was kind of attached to my watch. Literally. Couldn't get it off. I have tried before. I tried to pull it off, tear it off, cut it off. I tried many things. I finally just got used to it. I mean, yeah, it hindered my running, but people thought it was cool. I actually made friends because of it. We all have crossroads in life. This was mine. I realized I had a choice. Get rid of the watch somehow, or get out of the race. At that moment, I made the decision. I chose to become a runner. Right then, I heard somebody say, "Do you want me to take the watch off?" This guy was standing next to me. It kind of freaked me out. I guess he knew what was going on. I told him I wanted to be a runner, but couldn't do it with my watch. He asked me again, "Do you want me to take off the watch?" I said yes. He smiled and somehow managed to take it right off. My life since then has been all about running. I mean, I'm running now in a way I never thought I could before. I still stumble at times, but I never fall. I have a passion for running I never dreamed I would have. I owe a lot to that guy who freed me from my watch or shackles or whatever you want to call it. I sometimes wonder what he did with my watch. But I do know this, what he did set me free. My name is Blaine, and I'm a runner.
What is causing you not to run? What is causing you to veer to the left, to veer to the right? The final thing Paul wants us to keep in mind is to never give up. Is to never give up. Hebrews 12 says, "Consider him who endured such opposition from sinful men, that you will not grow weary and lose heart." Guys, I want you to consider this morning what Jesus did for you on the cross. The nailing, the beating, the piercing, the spear. What Jesus went through on the cross for you and for me. He had every single right to give up. But guys, let me tell you this morning, he chose to endure the cross. He chose to take its scorn and its shame for you and for me. The guys, this morning, we're going to be able to have the opportunity to partake in the Lord's Supper. And for me, the Lord's Supper is a perfect invitation to follow Christ with all of your heart. It's a perfect representation of what Christ did for you on the cross. His broken body. What he endured for you and what he endured for me. The shedding of his blood upon that cross, upon the road to Golgotha. So if I could have the ushers come this morning, begin to disperse the elements. I want you to hold on to them. I want you to begin to examine what Christ has done for you in your life. I want you to look at the bread. I want you to look at the juice and begin to think about what Christ did for you and what Christ did for me that day. The year was 2006. As I'd said before, coached cross country for about 8 years. We had an awesome opportunity to run our district cross country meet on the University of Iowa's cross country course. I want to set the stage up for you guys. It had rained all night long. In fact, that morning it was somewhat drizzling, so there's still persistent rain was coming down all day. And so, needless to say, the course was just a sloppy mess. About 100 yards from the finish line, there was a hairpin turn that went down into a valley and came back up. So all the water had been running through here all day. And so after about 100 to 200 athletes running through this valley, running through this creek, it had become a muddy mess. There was a team there, Prince of Peace. It was a small Catholic school, a great cross-country program. They were expected to go to state that year. So as a coach, I positioned myself about 100 yards down from the finish line. I was about right where that corner was at. And so the first runner, Prince of Peace, comes by. The second runner, Prince of Peace, comes by. I was counting in my head how many places my athletes were and just other teams. And the third runner comes around this corner. And he slips and falls right in front of me. He slips and falls right in front of me. This young man had given his heart and his soul for his team. He was totally exhausted to the point where he was practically unable to get off of the course. Track regulations, cross-country regulations don't allow you to touch an athlete while he's in the race or he'd be disqualified. And so I watched as this young man struggles on the ground right in front of me. I had to do something. Couldn't touch him. So I just lean over this young man and say, "Bud, it's time to get up. It's time to finish the race." Guys, you should have saw the look on his face. Just a simple, kind word. Just a simple thought of encouragement gave him some strength, gave him enough strength to get up from where he was sitting. He didn't finish technically strong. I mean, he finished the race running, but he wasn't at a sprint. Well, guys, let me tell you, he finished the race. Guys, I have to ask you this morning, is there a hairpin turn in your life? Is there a valley that you have gone through that has caused you to stumble and has caused you to fall? Jesus Christ is standing over you. He's saying, don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. It's time to finish the race. It's time to finish the race. I am here for you. I am here to encourage you. So maybe this morning you're sitting there and you're thinking, you know what? Man, life has happened. I'm just ready to give up. I'm just ready to give it out. Jesus Christ is saying to you, don't give up. I have 2 questions for you this morning. 2 questions for you this morning. As you are holding the elements of communion, the broken body and the blood shed of Jesus Christ, I want to ask you 2 questions. Is there something in your life, go ahead fellas, is there something in your life that has caused you to stumble, that has caused you to fall? Maybe it's a sin that has so easily entangled you. Maybe it's something that you can't get rid of by your own power and your own strength. Guys, as you take communion this morning, I just pray that God would release you of those things that is holding you back, that is holding you down. And the final thing is, as you've been running this race, whether you've been running very long or you've been running a long time, life has happened and you're ready to give up. You're not necessarily ready to give up your salvation, to give it away, but you're ready to give up on this ultimate gift, this ultimate prize that God has for you this morning. So as we sing this song, Jesus Messiah, if God is speaking to you about something in your life, I encourage you to take your elements and come to the altar. When we've had time to examine ourselves, examine our life, we'll all partake together. Go ahead, John.
His body the bread, his blood the wine, broken and poured out all for love. The whole earth trembled and the veil was torn. Love so amazing, love so amazing. Jesus Messiah, name above all names, blessed Redeemer, Emmanuel, the rescue for sinners, the ransom from heaven, Jesus Messiah, the Lord of all.
Like I said before, family, I said before, church, this is the most awesome